everybody. Happy Saturday and welcome to Movie Couple Live. I'm going to go to Dustin to make sure that we don't sound like we have very deep voices.
Well, we'll find out in just a second. Oh, we sound good.
All right. Sometimes it happens with our little Zoom H4. Regardless of the frequency I have on that I have correct from the last setting, sometimes it'll switch over and it'll decide to make us sound like we inhaled a bunch of helium or the opposite of that.
Or the other gas that you can sound really deep and low. I actually would love one day to be able to get some of that stuff to play around with it. It's kind of like, when you were young and you're playing around with helium.
Yeah.
But at the exact opposite. I want to do that so bad.
Maybe one day. I don't know.
Hexachlorofluoride, I think that's what it's called.
Sounds fancy, very complex.
Whereas you just have helium. And then hexachlorofluoride.
Hexachlorofluoride. Anyways, you guys, we have a fun, very relaxed show for you guys today. We're going to talk about the spoiler for The Bad Batch, episode 14, War Mantle, and just a quick sesh of Ask Us Anything, because has been a lot of news, ScarJo news, David Ayer news, about the Suicide Squad and this and that. But we thought that it's kind of been talked to death about it, specifically on a couple of other shows that you guys have seen me on. And I know you guys, come out and support those other shows. So I don't want you to feel like you have to listen to me spout the same thing over and over again.
So I'll probably give just my thoughts on a few of these things, and then we'll probably move on.
No. Feel like you have sorry. There we go. We're okay.
So many buttons.
We have a super chat from, that's not the right thing. We have a super chat from Marvin Martian.
Oh, thank you, Marvin Martin.
Thank you so much. Marvin Martin?
Marvin Martin.
I said it wrong. Marvin
and he has a new one.
Oh, that one's cute. It's not it's got is it an equation? I'm trying to look in and look, and all you guys see is my forehead.
Those little circle, the little circle icons on everyone's name always cuts off a little bit on the sides. So that's why I was always so frustrated when I put mine up.
Yeah.
Because I want to make sure that I have whatever my costume is or something, the cosplay that I happen to put up that time.
You just have to upload a tiny photo. So when they crop it, it looks okay. Marvin writes, if you guys, if you like tough, see by bust. If odd passion in the desert, if joy, El Gamma Penumbra, sure. If history, How to Be Tyrant with Peter Dinklage.
Oh.
If hot, you're throwing these names at me that I don't know how to pronounce, Marvin. Do you want to attempt?
Oh, God, I'm probably a lot worse than you. That's why Wendy actually does most of the reading on the show.
But then it makes me look bad because it makes me look like I'm uneducated.
But
English is my second language, guys.
And you're
not even
better
my
at
first
it
language.
than my first language. That just shows how amazing you are.
All right, you guys. Marvin, thank you so much for all the recommends. Did you screenshot?
Yes, I did. I screenshot it, so that means we can look up by bust. And of course, anything with Peter Dinklage.
I think How to Be Tyrant. I feel like I've seen. Isn't it out somewhere right now or something?
I think it is.
Yeah.
Well, I think Marvin has actually seen it. Right,
but he could have seen it if it was an older property. I'm saying maybe it's a new property that's out now. I don't know, but we're gonna go ahead and look all those up after the show. So Marvin, as always, thank you so much for your kind contributions and your suggestions and recommendations. As always, late to the party is here. The hardest button to button. All the buttons are hard to button.
Oh my gosh! I mean, honestly, I really want to get a thing that Robert has. He's just the
Stream Deck?
the little Stream Deck where you can just push all of the different buttons. You're just bah, 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 bah.
Load it all into.
Just so you can have them all
sound
in
alert.
there.
I wonder if we can build Sound Alert from Stream Labs into our YouTube channel. I'll look into that.
Maybe.
If so, maybe we'll do some fun ones because I have some on Twitch. That's a lot of fun, but I don't really have that set up here for this stream. But regardless, Debbie writes, Wendy, favorite piece from the Her Universe fashion show? Great question. So the Her Universe fashion show just happened last week. during the Comic-Con at home. It was part of the programming, and normally they do this in person. You guys know this. If you've been watching this channel for a long time, I love me a good Her Universe piece. I love geek fashion, and I've had the opportunity to walk in the show in 2018, which was a really amazing.
You looked so cool, and you go down to the end of the runway, and you do that awesome. You do an awesome Mulan pose.
I didn't know that I was gonna do that until I got to the top, where I was like, I can't just
stop and turn,
not strike a Mulan pose. I gotta do something.
At work, there was a little girl that actually had like a Mulan mask.
Oh, really?
And I thought it was so cute. I'm like, oh my gosh, my wife would love that.
Oh, I want one. That's cute. I should look that up. I just have so many masks, but I keep buying them because they have to match all of my outfits, right?
Yeah, and recently Wendy actually went to, where did you get my Darth Vader mask?
I was at Century City to watch Snake Eyes, and then there's the Disney store there, and I was on my way out. So I was like, I wonder if they have the Darth Vader mask, because we couldn't find one at Disneyland. Yeah, so I got one for him, none for myself, because I didn't like any of the designs there. So I just came in with the mask for him. I was like, here you go.
Like, yay, I've been looking so long for this.
Because we wash them. So we wear one, and then we would just put it in the wash. Favorite piece from the Her Universe fashion show this year's theme is community. And there was very creative this year, but I would say, let me think. There's one, it's very streetwear, ready to wear, by Sarah Tim, and she based it on Hamilton, the musical. That was the inspiration, but then instead of basing it on Alexander Hamilton, she actually based it on Aaron Burr, and what Aaron Burr would wear today if he were alive and was a rapper. So she kind of encompassed all that. There was a lot of hand beading, hand embroidery. There was like the phrase that says "wait for it" across the hood, and it was like from head to toe. When people design for Her Universe fashion show, they design from head to toe, which means from hair, makeup, accessories in the hair, all the way to what shoes they're going to wear. So it's really, really cool. You can actually still check it out. It's on the Comic-Con at Home YouTube channel. Just search Her Universe Fashion Show 2021. You can see the full show. You're going to see this face pop up for 2 seconds because I forgot that I had sent Hot Topic a quick clip of what it means to be a part of the Her Universe community. And then when my face popped up, I was like, oh my gosh.
Oh, you're like, that's me.
That's me. Forgot. It's always really awkward when I'm not prepared when I see myself on screen. I'm like, oh no. Oh no. Another piece that I liked was the To the Bus, and it was based on the Magic School Bus and what Miss Frazzle would wear if she was about to go to the gala or a red carpet. There was like tiny embroideries and buses that just like a full gorgeous like floor length gown. Absolutely beautiful. Go ahead and look those up.
I really like that idea too, because most of the times when you think of like
Miss Frizzle,
Miss Frizzle,
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I
feel frazzled.
When I actually used to do like story time, I actually had like a little puppet, and I would call her Miss Frazzle. So that's where I was like, it's something close to that. But thank you so much for putting that in there. You left me on a topic that I really don't know much about. So what are some, because we're going to be talking about the Bad Batch. We're going to be
yes, we are talking about the Bad Batch today, but so we didn't leave the show completely like topic-less. We do have a couple of news flashes. We just didn't build it as like concrete as we normally do. I do want to talk about a couple of things that caught my eye. So Clifford the Big Red Dog is actually, I don't know if you guys remember that. And this is Navi, the small white poodle mix dog, who has a slight ear infection right now.
Oh, yeah, we have to give her little drops in her ears every single day.
She hates me for it. It's great. But you guys remember the trailer for Clifford the Big Red Dog? Literally a big red CGI dog next to humans, live action film. So it looks like, according to Deadline, Clifford the Big Red Dog has been pulled from the Paramount release schedule over the Delta concern, Delta meaning the Delta variant. And so they're looking for a new date. Originally, it was supposed to come out September 17th, and now it is not even on their schedule to see what's going to happen. So, and according to the article here, there was a buzz that the studio was pushing for the film by a week to September 22nd, but now they've completely gone back on that. And so now it's off the schedule for the time being. Clifford was announced as a gala presentation at TIFF in September. So I guess that means now when you go to TIFF, you won't be able to see Clifford the Big Red Dog. I'm also thinking that if they're planning to send this movie to TIFF, that they've got some confidence behind it. You don't just send any movie to TIFF.
And the fact that they're sending this one to TIFF, and I'm just sad to hear that we are now back to, because of COVID, we are now pushing dates back for movies. And I'm like, I thought we were finally over that.
I'm really annoyed.
I thought we were finally being able to get back on track. No movies were going to get pushed back, and that we would actually get back to kind of life as usual. Yeah. But now it seems like, nope. We still have one more little bump to go over. Hopefully it's one more little.
And that's it, because I really don't want to deal with any more. Before we hop into the next piece of news flash, and please let us know what you think of this news in the comment section, and we're going to go ahead and read some of them out loud. We got a super chat from Spider Chris's Choice, Chris Mendez. Thank you so much. Chris writes, if we could bring back one of these characters to any future Star Wars movies, who would you choose? Luke, Leia, or Han? I choose Luke.
I think Luke is probably the best bet, because Luke can still tie into the Jedi, can still tie into the Sith, maybe a little bit with Leia, but I think Leia would be more difficult to pull off. Yeah. Seeing how Carrie Fisher's no longer with us. And Han Solo, I love him, but
I don't know if he can come back.
He can't really come back. So, I mean, I guess you could kind of concoct a way, but yeah, Luke is definitely the one that would fit the most, would have the most use behind it. You could actually tell more story behind it. So yeah, definitely Luke Skywalker.
I think I was going to go Leia, but you're right. Thinking about not having Carrie Fisher around to portray Leia again, and perhaps the next time we see any representation of Leia on screen would be maybe a younger version, so that they can cast a different actor in the role. I probably would choose Luke as well, considering I wasn't really satisfied with his story, with his end of chapter in not Rise of Skywalker. Is it Rise of Skywalker? No. When do we see Luke do the
ghost thing?
Yeah.
I think that was in the last
second.
Jedi.
Oh, right. Yes.
That all happened in the last Jedi. Everything else was in Rise of Skywalker.
Right. So I wasn't quite satisfied with his end. So I would he's one with the Force, so they can bring him back, right? I don't know.
I'm
sure there's somebody out there yelling, that's not how the Force works.
That's not how the Force works.
You gotta have Harrison Ford popping in and telling me that. Oh man. So great question. Let us know, you guys, what you think, who you would bring back. Debbie is saying Luke for sure. Marvin says, with all the magic and stuff, I wonder if Ewoks and ancestors are Care Bears. Care Bears. They're really mean looking Care Bears, though.
Oh yeah, those are the Care Bears.
They're fighting Care Bears. They're fighting Care Bears.
They will kill you and then put you on a spit and eat you.
Oh God, that's crazy. Let's see. Going through the comments here. Sorry guys, this is what happens when we don't have a structured show, where it's very casual.
Well, I mean, we could also in the meantime just kind of chit chat a little bit about the Scarlett Johansson thing.
Why don't you
more hardcore information about it?
I don't have it memorized,
but I've also kind of gone through it a little bit, and I personally think that when it comes to lawsuits and things like this, especially with big corporations, all we really first hear about is the fact, there's a lawsuit and this is the company's reaction. We really don't see any of the dialogue, the back and forth, the communication that happened before that lawsuit went into effect, so to speak. It's kind of like, if you guys have ever heard of the lawsuit with the lady that spilled coffee on her lap for McDonald's. All we hear is that, a woman spills coffee on her lap and then sues McDonald's kind of thing. We don't hear that, she was in a parked car. The coffee was 200 degrees. It put third-degree burns on her. She tried to get McDonald's to be like, hey, can you help me with some of this? And McDonald's was kind of all rude and everything. All we hear is lawsuit, reaction kind of a thing. And I personally think that the way that this really should have been handled is that they should have sat down and been like, okay, Scarlett, we know that when we originally signed this contract, we had every anticipation, every intent to have this out in the theaters and have it be a big release. That's not going to happen because of things way beyond our control. Let's renegotiate the contract and figure out something that works for both of us.
Yes.
I don't know if Scarlett Johansson kind of came up and was like, hey, I want to talk about this.
Well, technically, according to, I don't remember if it was Variety that included the emails from her lawyers or Deadline. I want to say Variety, but I might be misquoting here. But one of the outlets in their article said that there was record of Scarlett Johansson being concerned about the release strategy and so it was already in motion prior to, it wasn't like she waited for Black Widow to come out and said, but hey, what about this? Like, this wasn't something that she was concerned with a little while ago. We don't have like the exact email, so obviously we can't see it all, but so her lawyers released that, and then the Disney's team kind of replied back and said that, like, basically saying like, oh, you don't care about the pandemic and this and that, which is like, well, that's not how she means it. It's basically she, in her contract was this, and somebody needed to honor it.
Yeah.
He signed a contract. So what I mean, I don't want to like speak on their personal matters. Like, this is very personal. I always hate seeing things like this play out, in front of everybody. Unfortunately, I do feel like they're going to settle out of court.
Yeah.
I think they'll reach an agreement and a settlement. Don't know what that's going to be, but I can't imagine it like really. I mean, it could. It could. Well,
and also the thing is, sometimes suing someone and bring it into the public light so everyone can go, oh, there's this big debate that's going on. There's this big controversy. And once people get like the court of public opinion, you can get a little bit of the public opinion on your side and kind of pressure the company into being like, hey, at least coming to the table.
Yes.
From what it sounds like is that Scarlett Johansson said, hey, I have concerns about this. And Disney was like, oh, so you don't care about the movie. You don't care about this. And it's kind of like, whoa. That's not what I was saying. I just have concerns about what is going on.
You don't care about the movie?
You don't care about the COVID and the difficulties that everyone's going through.
Right.
And it's kind of like, well, no, I want to. And it just seems like it was very poorly handled. And the fact that even Kevin Feige.
That's why things like that shouldn't play out like in public statements. I think it needs to be handled behind closed doors. However, sorry, you were saying I cut you off so rudely.
No, it's okay. And even Kevin Feige came out and was like, whoa, Disney, you didn't handle this very well. Even Kevin Feige seems to be a little upset with Disney at the moment.
Well, that's his star. He definitely wants to,
And he's
not saying like he has to be on her side, but I do like that he is supporting her, because I do feel that if you're contractually obligated to get something, she held up her end of the bargain, right? She did the work. She filmed the movie. She promoted it. Because people forget, after you wrap a movie, like, your job as an actor is not done. You have to do all these interviews, full day interviews. Excuse me, plus travel to XYZ places to do more press or to film extra things. Like, that's all a part of your contract. Like, it's not just like, here's your money for just the movie and plus all the rehearsal and everything. And she has to stay in shape and all that stuff. Like, yes, you're looking at like, oh my God, look how much money she's making. Yeah. But she's also, changed her entire life and routine. Like that's a big role. So she's taking it very seriously. There's a lot of time, training, hard work, crazy hours,
and she's put her time in.
Yeah. For 10 plus years as Black Widow. So I think now that this is out, I think what this might do is it might make any future actors, talents signing on to films ask about this. Like, what happens if it does go into streaming? What's the release schedule? And there might be things that are built into their contract that will say, like, so we'll get this much for this release, but then if we go day and date release for, like, theatrical plus streaming platform, then we do. I can just see then that's the result of this lawsuit being out. And
I also don't think it doesn't help the fact that I've been on the opposite side of this before too.
Oh, have
There's
you?
been a time that I was a part of a project. And we signed, instead of being paid up front, the guy was like, hey, you know what? We'll pay you a certain percentage of what we make. And we did all of this work. We put hours upon hours, weeks, months of work into it. Something went wrong in the end, and he never
did you not get paid for that
he
project?
never released it, and we never got paid.
Ew, no.
And it's
I
like,
didn't know that.
We got nothing. Literally
I kid
nothing
you not,
for it.
everybody involved, including Dustin, put in months of work, all crazy hours. Like, I remember it was like, to one point it got really stressful, and like, kind of from the outside looking in, it looked like people stopped having fun.
Yes.
And that's really sad. I literally didn't know you didn't get paid for it.
We got nothing for it. And I kind of feel like that's kind of something that Scarlett Johansson is doing. She's like, well, okay.
Well, no, she got paid. She
got paid. But part of her payment was of, hey, whatever the box office makes, you get 1% of it.
Mm-hmm.
So, but and you're like, okay, yeah, I'm expecting this to be a good movie.
Yeah.
But if they're like, well, we didn't release it in the box office, we released it on VOD, so you get none of that money.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, well, wait a second. Whoa, you're still making money off it, but I'm not getting anything. That is just really creepy and underhanded kind of a thing.
I'm curious to see how it'll play out. I imagine the next thing we hear is that they've settled, and I don't feel like I really, need to stick my nose in, like, and see, like, oh, what was the number? Well, how much did they get then? Like, I don't need to know. If she's happy with whatever it is settled, if they settle, then let that be that. But yeah, I think it will start a new wave of people looking at contracts and things like that, and release schedules or release strategies a little bit different.
Yeah, I mean, this is something that is just going to be a big topic now.
Mm-hmm.
Releasing on VOD, for all. It's kind of like when the internet first happened,
mm-hmm.
And it's now going, instead of just being written and sitcoms and things like that. If it releases on a streaming service, it is now a whole new category that you have to dissect, put percentages on. How much do you get of this? How much do you get of that? It's a whole new phase of new streaming services.
Accurate.
Of how to watch movies and entertainment.
Yeah. And, because like COVID, like, it unfortunately has not gone away. So we're still kind of living in that era. So I understand the pivot to really the release schedule, but we got to handle all the other stuff accordingly. So with that said, we're going to go ahead and move on to the...
Well, before we move on, we actually got 2 super chats.
Oh, no, I didn't see those.
One from Marvin Martin and one from Hello What 890, but his super chat did not attach to the actual super chat somewhere.
Weird.
So I'm not quite sure which super chat. I think it's the one right underneath it.
Okay.
So yeah, Marvin Martin first.
All right. Marvin Martin writes, what classics could they mess up with remakes? I vote American Tail, Oliver and Company, Fantasia, G.I. Joe, and The Secret of NIMH.
The Secret of NIMH, I think,
I haven't
would be
revisited that movie in a long time.
I think Secret of NIMH would be ripe for a remake. That could go terribly wrong. I think, but it's a one that I think would be a good flip of the coin, because there's some movies out there that you're like, no, don't even try to remake yet. The timing is not right. I don't think you should try to remake like the original Star Wars.
Oh, no, never touch those. Never touch it.
Even like if the prequels, not yet. I don't think the time's right to try and remake those. Same thing with like Princess Bride. Maybe you could kind of redo Goonies.
They kind of did with Ohana, Finding Ohana. Well, that was more of a pay for tribute.
Yeah. But I think Secret of NIMH would be a really good retry.
I would be okay with them doing that one. Oh man, what's a classic that they could make
Tail
up?
Would be, I think taking American
I don't want them
Tail,
to remake that one.
But I think if you place it in more of a not a modern day, but kind of, you could have a lot of modern day problems, a lot of modern day commentary on a new version of American Tail. Because there's so many things going on right now with immigration.
Right. Well,
that you could kind of comment on and put into a cartoon.
So would they be modern mice instead of period piece mice?
Maybe.
I don't know. I just like the original so much.
Yeah.
Oh no! Don't sing it.
Don't sing.
I just got the one.
I got the one word.
Gosh, I don't know. Let me think about this. What classics could they remake with it? Could they mess up with remake?
You know what they really could mess up is Fantasia. That could be because since Fantasia is so artsy
Yeah.
to begin with, it's
Yeah.
all just music and animation.
Mhm.
There's like no dialogue, there's no character development. It's all just a visual and audio spectacular sort
Yeah.
of thing.
Yeah.
So I think you could do Fantasia and completely miss the mark with that one. Of course, Fantasia in general is kind of just a really hard mark to hit because it's just so artsy.
Yeah, I don't, and that's why they did like a Fantasia 2.0 or whatever, like was like the 2000 and whatever. That I still feel was okay. Still wasn't as good as the original. I think the original you really can't compare. Are you seeing some of the funny comments that you're laughing at?
Yeah.
Share it with the class.
Oh, okay. Hello, what 890? I love the fact that all I had to do is sing one word of the song, and it starts. You're like, oh my god, American Tail!
You want to sing it like the mice too. So
on that
cute.
high pitch.
On a high pitch.
And I remember that movie so well. Honestly, I also miss at
There's
Universal
also that
Studios.
50 Goes West. Remember that?
Oh, that one
wasn't
was
as
a
good.
little weird.
That one wasn't as good.
But I remember at Universal Studios, they used to have all of the American Tail stuff. They actually had an American Tail show. I have a friend that actually worked that show.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh.
And I missed that area. That was a really cool show.
What did they do? It was like a
full-fledged on show. It was kind of like taking the movie and then abridging it. But they had pyrotechnics. They had a whole bunch of people in the outfit, in like the full-on
the costumes.
Yeah, they're not fuzzy fluff. What are the costume people that are in those costumes called?
Costume mascot costumes.
Well, in the mascot costumes.
What happened just now?
Sorry.
Okay.
My apologies. The Birds remake.
Oh, that's an interesting one.
That would be interesting. But the thing is,
I think if they remade it, it would look cheesy.
Well, what was that one? They did one that was a terrible, like Doors, not the Doors, The Room, version of like the Birds,
that's right.
Where the animation was just like video game.
Yeah, they didn't Birdemic.
Thank you.
Thank you, MK. Yes.
It's very possible that it could turn into another version of that.
All of it. I just saw snippets of it, and like the the CGI birds was not the best. And I just feel like if they were to remake Birds now, I don't know, they would try to make it like kind of disaster movie type.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it would translate well. So I think that might be my answer right there.
And also, it's kind of like remaking Jaws.
Yeah.
There have been so many, in a sense, remakes of Jaws, but done with a giant squid, done with this kind of animal. The story of Jaws, of something dangerous in the water, and someone figures out what it is, but the government or mayor or politicians like, no, don't do it. Don't shut down the beaches.
Never.
And then something even worse happens. And then there's a hunt for the creature.
Yeah.
That kind of organization or that structure has been done so many times. So would remaking Jaws really be anything? What new and different can you bring to it?
Yes.
What is new and different that you could bring to the Birds that hasn't been beaten over the head?
Yeah, it's got to find the right writers and the right director.
Yeah.
To pull something together that's not too. I don't know why I keep going back to disaster movie, but I just don't. I feel like that would be the route that they go, and I hope they don't, because I want to. It's got to be like a thriller suspense type of a thing versus a disaster. So maybe that one is to be left alone. I'm sure it's being talked about. As many things are being remade, in pitch meetings all the time, being pitched. Like, what about if we do this? Let's go ahead and get to Hello What's super chat. I'm sorry that they didn't attach. I don't know what happened, but we're going to assume that this is the one you're talking about, which leads us into our next topic, which is about the Bad Batch, episode 14. So Hello What 890 writes, the poor Republic commando that got friendly fired. We know that TK we know what TK stands for now, Team Killer. R.I.P. Unnamed Commando, survived the Clone Wars and joined the Empire, but died by the plebs.
Oh my God.
That's
I know that
true,
is so sad
huh?
when you really break it down like that. You're like, yeah, we got through the Clone Wars. I made it. I survived. And then your own team shoots you in a random raid by some rogue clones.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. And you're just like, what the heck? I'm on
your side.
Won. And then you get killed by friendly fire.
Yeah. This episode, it really, I think it's like the last few minutes that kind of went, oh my gosh, things are really moving. But, you know, they break away from a mission for Sid following Rex's hologram to rescue a trooper named Gregor, which now we know is one of the 3 that we get to see later. So we know that these guys survived the Clone Wars and Order 66, which is great. Wolf, Rex, and Gregor is the one that we got to see in this one, but like much younger, obviously. Still very much personality attached, and a lot of, I would say, heartstrings were tugged at this one, because at the very end of the episode, you know, it's a stealth mission. They got to go in, they got to break out a prisoner, they got to escape, but it's a base full of literally all the other troopers walking around, very high security. Granted, they can't shoot, and they made a joke out of that.
Who trained these
guys?
I thought you said you trained these guys. Well, I didn't train them. I didn't teach them everything.
Yeah, which was kind of like, oh, that's why they were so poor shots. You never really taught them how to properly aim inside the helmet.
Yeah, I can see that.
You teach everybody how to shoot outside of the helmet, and then you put them on. They're like, I can't see.
What's going on? How do I do this? But it would make a lot of sense, too, that a lot of the clones that would be training the stormtroopers would have some resentment. They're being like, wait a second, you want us, after we just won this war for you, after we just pretty much overthrew the Jedi Council for you, and now you're going to replace us? And then you want us to train our replacement. I can see that the reason why the stormtroopers are so terrible is because it's the clones that are just giving them a big, you know, F you. Yeah. And we're like, we're not going to train these guys. We'll train these guys, but we're going to do a really bad job of it. We're going to teach them everything wrong.
And we see them being almost 100% successful at this mission at the end, where they were taking on enemy fire and they were faced against a cliff, and Omega has to co-pilot the ship while they, you know, try to jump on, and couldn't make it all the first time, so she had to circle back around the second time, which, like, I'm so proud of her, how far she's come for, you know, as inexperienced she was at the very beginning of this, being in the field, which is something she was never meant to do, but now she's out there, you know, with her crossbow. Now she's flying, making friends. It's fantastic. But at the last moment, Hunter takes the leap and does not make it, and takes a pretty high fall.
I have to admit, that is a fall that I'm like, how did you not break a bone? How did you not break your neck? How are you able to stand or talk or do anything after that fall?
That armor must
boom,
be
boom, boom, boom. It's kind of like if any of you have seen The Jungle Book, that fall that that one character takes, and you're like, how? Whoa, that is a brutal fall. And
it's a pretty brutal fall. It doesn't seem like his armor even cracked, but we are going to suspend our disbelief, because this is Hunter we're talking about here. I don't know about you guys out there, but I definitely want him to survive. And you know, the heartbreaking part was Omega's voice coming over his communicator and saying, order them to turn around, because she knows that these guys would follow order. The only person she could beg to change her mind, because she's too small to overpower any of them to try to steer the ship, was Hunter. And he's like, nope, and he just surrendered himself, because what else is there to do?
When, like, you see your getaway is far away and you're surrounded, that's when you're like, I give up.
Yeah.
I give up.
Marvin says she has great armor, aka plot armor. Plot armor. So now we have Hunter captured, and of course, who does he come face to face with? The one and only Crosshair. And while I would have loved a showdown between Crosshair and the entire Bad Batch, I think it's actually more fitting for it to be just one versus one, because before his chip completely overtook his decision making, I think Crosshair and Hunter had a lot of those one-on-one moments when they were back on base, kind of after episode 1 and episode 2, I think. So I think it's really fitting. I can't wait to see what kind of conversation they get into. Because you said something at this point, you're like, Crosshair has really evolved into not just like the chips making him do this, but he's kind of become quite the villain.
Yeah, he's becoming quite evil. I do have to admit, to where he didn't really seem like, all of the other clones that have had their chips affect them seem like they just executed Order 66 and they became good clones. However, Crosshairs really does seem to be taking an extra little step into being maniacal, to being almost ruthless. Kind of a thing. So I'm a little curious on in which direction. Okay, Navi, you're squirming.
This is why we stopped bringing her up, because she wants up so bad, and then she's like, I'm not comfortable on a human lap.
I'm like, well, yeah, it's a human lap. But yeah, honestly, I'm really curious to see where they're taking this. I do remember that they were saying that the regs were becoming a little bit more drone-like, or drone-like. Okay. That they were they were kind of becoming more ruthless. So maybe that's having an effect on Crosshair a little bit, but I'm curious to see where they're going to take it.
Well, we got 2 more episodes to go. It was nice to see Gregor in this one. And hello, what's next super chat is Scorch's cameo was perfect. I would have been terrified if Sev, Boss, and Fixer, the rest of the Delta squad, were here too. The fight would have been way shorter. Yeah, they were already, I feel like, overpowered. And I think, I don't want to say they escaped by the skin of their teeth, even though it did seem like that at the end. But for a while, they were running around and none of the shots were actually making contact because of the whole, like, they're so bad. But when you have so many clone troopers and only so many targets, you're basically spray painting the area with your blaster fire. You're going to end up shooting somebody, and one of those guys was a better shot than the others and actually hit Gregor, in the chest, and he kind of played it off like, I'm okay, and I'm like, I don't. And
you start kind of hearing him wheeze a little bit.
Yeah, and I'm like, I don't think you're okay, man. Like, that thing hit you square in the chest.
Now, I do also have to admit, I found it funny that, yeah, they keep on missing. But as soon as it was their own guy, all center mass. And the guy was like,
I felt so bad. And it's funny because he got pushed out. And I thought it was like Hunter or who was the other Echo I was like, oh no, oh wait, we're okay. But then immediately I was like, oh wait, but I feel bad now. Because it's kind of like, no, I want your side, as he falls off the ledge. I wonder if Seth, Boss, and Fixer comes back.
Maybe.
For a future episode. We don't know.
There's probably going to be a whole getting the gang together. Maybe the last
episode is 1 hour.
To break Hunter out. I think they're going to call on every favor, every person. They probably will get Rex to come and help them. They'll probably get...
And we'll see Wolf.
Oh, yeah. We'll probably...
The trio. Yeah, we'll get to see them together.
And also, I wouldn't be surprised if Ahsoka actually makes an appearance in this.
I don't think she's going to show up.
Yeah, you're probably right, because it doesn't quite line up with the time. She would still be right now out on her own adventure.
Correct.
But I thought it would make a little bit of sense, because then Ahsoka would know where Rex, Wolf, and Gregor went.
Right.
How they went into where I can't remember what planet that was.
Well,
that they found him in Rebels.
Fair, there's a lot of things that aren't shown on the series that could be playing out in real time as well, in real time to the show. So we saw Rex during his holo communication. He was definitely deep in some sort of mission, and he kind of like I gotta go, and he runs off. Who's not to say that he wasn't with Ahsoka at the time, but she really wanted to stay hidden because she's considered a Jedi.
Yeah.
So she, be killed or whatever. So she's got to survive on her own. But I feel like I read somewhere that she's not really going to be in this, which is very upsetting, because I love hearing Ashley as Ahsoka Tano, and you guys know that is my favorite character. Right. So it would have been nice to get just another glimpse of her. You never know. Disney with Marvel and Star Wars are pretty good at keeping things under wraps. So we will see if a Jedi, because somebody sent in not a super chat, but a comment earlier, if you think we will see a Jedi at the end. I think if we do see a Jedi, it might be Kanan, but pre-Kanan.
Yeah. Well, it would only be what, a certain
Because
amount
it's only
of
been
months.
a certain amount of So he's not full grown,
Mhm.
but like so Padawan, I guess more
And
so.
I guess too, he could. I mean, they
Caleb.
could also call in the Syndulla family
Yeah, the Syndulla family
to
can
help
come
them get
back.
Hunter, because hey, Hunter helped you guys.
Right.
They can somehow maybe get a hold of, like, maybe somehow Caleb does come in, and that's how Caleb and Hera meet. But I think it's too soon for that.
Yeah, there's a book out there where when they meet, they are both full grown adults.
Oh yeah, that's right.
But there's a lot of people from this entire episode who can come back and help out. Somebody said it here. I think it was Jacko Manazan who says, "Oh no, sorry, that's the next question I want to get to. So I'll go ahead and put that up." But somebody else said it that could be Fennec, right? Cad Bane, who knows if he wants to make another deal. Sid and whatever kind of backup, and what's the guy's name, Randolph or whatever, whose horn got sliced off.
Oh yeah.
It could be him. The Martez sisters could have another role played in that, but I'm thinking if we're going to see a repeat of Saw Gerrera, maybe.
Oh yeah.
A little bit more unlikely, but it's possible.
We still have to see how Saw Gerrera gets so beat up to where the way he looks in Rogue One, where he has that respirator thing.
Yeah.
So, well, I don't think it would happen this soon, because remember, we're only a few, I think storyline wise, we're only a few months outside of Order 66.
Yeah, it's too soon.
So we're still very much in the beginning of the Empire.
Jacko writes, do you think a member in the Bad Batch will be killed in the series final? I think if anybody were to be killed, if you still consider him as a part of the Bad Batch, it would be Crosshair.
Yeah.
But I feel like it would be a self-redemption, self-sacrifice kind of a thing, as opposed to one of his own gunning him down, because I don't think they're going to do that.
It could also be the fact that they find out that he is, in a sense, because of his chip, irredeemable, that he cannot be saved. So...
Oh, that's really sad, though.
They do end up shooting him, kind of a thing. Or they're like, I'm sorry, we can't save you. I would really like to see them try to save Crosshair, but I don't know how that could kind of work out. Yeah. Either they save him or they don't. But actually, that's a good question for all of you guys. Who do you think, if one character out of the Bad Batch does kick it at the end, who do you think it would be? Out of
the not counting Crosshair?
If you think it could be Crosshair, that could be Crosshair.
Okay.
It would be, I think the biggest heart wrench would be Wrecker.
Yes.
Because
they can't do it. No, I need Wrecker toys.
That he's very much just, kind of like the heart of the Bad Batch. I could see Hunter sacrificing himself.
I can see that too. I can see all of them doing it. Echo, Tech, all of them. They all have that if I go and this means the rest of you can live, then so be it. I can see all of them making that ultimate sacrifice, especially for Omega, because I think they all love her so much. Wouldn't it be crazy if Boba Fett showed up in the finale somehow?
That would actually be interesting, because then you could establish a relationship between Omega and Boba Fett, saying that, hey, you're my brother, in a sense.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it would be interesting to have some kind of... Right now, he should be... I think he's actually the age of Omega.
Oh my gosh.
Him and Omega are the same age. However,
that'd be interesting. Yes.
I'm curious. I'm trying to think of where he would be at this moment, because... Oh wait, no, they're not the same age, because in Clone Wars, there was a deleted scene where Boba Fett and Cad Bane have a shootout, and that's actually where Boba Fett got the dent in his helmet. But that's also where you see him now. Cad Bane has that metal plate in his head.
Yes.
And apparently that's where he got it from.
Yeah.
Was from that duel with Boba Fett, where it was a kind of very westernized, and it looked like a really cool scene.
Yeah.
But I think Boba Fett might be actually a little bit older than Omega at this time.
I think so, because I'm trying to also relate this to how old Fennec technically would be versus Boba Fett, because you got to think about how old Boba Fett is now when we see him in the book of Boba Fett.
Yeah.
So curious about that.
Hello, what says, yeah, they're the same age.
Oh well, there is that. I
So
also
they
wanted
might. I mean,
to.
I have to go and like double check that out too.
I kind of also wanted to ask you guys. I know it's ask us anything, but we're gonna ask you guys. So Hawkeye, switching over to the MCU here.
Oh,
Hawkeye has been moved up to release on November 24th,
ooh.
which is great. And we all know that earlier Disney Plus announced that all new shows are going to premiere on Wednesdays. So does Book of Boba Fett count as a new show, even though it's kind of under that like Mandalorian banner as well? And maybe that'll
Oh.
debut on a Friday, because it's been really, it's not bugging me. It's just been like living rent free in my head where I'm trying to figure out the schedule. So if they release Hawkeye on November 24th, and if they keep going for, say, like six, I don't know how many episodes, I haven't heard anything, but let's speculate and say there are 6 episodes, that would take us far deep into December, which means then if they release Book of Boba Fett, they would kind of overlap with each other on the same day.
Oh.
So I just kind of wanted to ask you guys about kind of what your thought is, that maybe they can still release some shows on a Friday, because they did say premiere new shows.
Yeah.
And I don't know if Book of Boba Fett, even though it's new characters, but it's under the same banner as The Mandalorian. So let us know that in the comments. And of course, if you have any questions for us in the few minutes that we have left for any AMAs, let us know in the chat as well. So Sean Banks says, like they did with Loki and the Bad Batch.
Yeah, well, they did kind of split that.
Hello. Oh wait, I gotta go back. Yeah, see, Debbie, it's new-ish. It's new-ish. It's not brand new. It's not the first time we were seeing Boba Fett in the flesh.
Yeah.
Right? It's not the first time we see him walk into Jabba's palace, because we saw that at the end. But they did say that it was going to come back. So, Hello What here says, Book of Boba Fett being Star Wars might release on Fridays. So, I don't know. Yeah.
It's one of those things that we're probably
Mm.
going to have to just wait and see what they do.
Mhm.
I mean, who knows? Maybe there's only like 6 episodes of Hawkeye.
If there is. And then that's going to stack up against, I think Debbie said it just now, and her question is when we think Miss Marvel is going to be released, where they shot a Halloween episode.
Oh.
Well, we're definitely not getting it. So are we getting Miss Marvel before we get
Hawkeye?
Hawkeye?
I
Here.
think so.
I'm going to go ahead and take a look if you want to talk to them and answer this super chat from Marvin Martin.
All right. So we have, why you think Arrow heroines are so in right now? Well, I think this is, I think Arrow heroines have always kind of been popular.
Yes.
You know, from Robin Hood to Green Arrow to Hawkeye. There's something about a character that is so skilled with a bow and arrow that is just so appealing, and always has kind of that what is that called? Kind of like that old school kind of awesomeness to them.
Yeah.
To where it's such a skill that you have to perfect. And it's cool to see like the trick arrows. No matter how, I mean, it's not the same thing as like, say, take that away, and instead of having a bow and arrow, give them some kind of gun that has trick shots. It's not, for some reason, it's not as cool. It's not as skill driven. To whereas a bow and arrow has a lot more, has an appearance of a lot more skill.
Trajectory and wind factor, and the weight of the. I don't know anything about archery. I've taken like one class.
So having someone, I mean, you always having a projectile character, is really cool. And if you want to make him even cooler, give him a bow and arrow. So I think that's something that is just ingrained in our psyche for so long, because technically guns are relatively new. You know, they've only been around for maybe like 150, 200 years.
Where bow and
arrow was thousands of years.
Yeah.
So that has really just been ingrained in our culture, in our societies for so many years. It was the pinnacle of weaponry technology, was the bow and arrow for thousands of years.
Yeah. And I gotta say, like, if I were to look at, say, like, if you take Legolas and you have him shoot arrows and you have Legolas with a gun, I think I'd pick Legolas with like an arrow. Just because, like, style wise, like you said, in like movie actions, not saying like the gun fu, for example, in John Wick is freaking amazing.
Or in Shadow and Bone, with
Jester.
With Jester. I thought that was like
See,
the
like,
Western
both
gun.
have their own flares, but there's something to be said, something sexy about like the bow and arrow, where you're just kind of like, and when they take like the 3 and they pull it back, and then they let go, and all 3 boop, 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 shoot. Like that's really, really cool. And maybe that's why. And then I lost a super chat from Hello What, which is in direct response to Marvin's. Hello What writes, response to Marvin, because guns, unless rated R or like John Wick, are hard to make entertaining. Bow and arrow have so much more entertainment value. Yeah, unless you do it like John Wick or Jesper.
Actually, that is a really good point too. I think it is also more difficult to, like, say if you wanted to make a PG-13 show or a PG-13 character, it's harder to do that with a gun. With a bow and arrow, on the other hand, you can make that. Heck, you could probably even make it PG and still be able to give your character a bow and arrow. You could probably put a show kind of like how Arrow, the first season, he was pretty brutal.
Yeah.
With that bow and arrow, he was killing people left and right, but you could still put it on TV. I think if you would have given him a gun, I think you would have had a harder time getting past rater, or what are those called? The people who rate give shows their rating, like M for Ma.
Oh, the TV, whatever that's called. Yeah.
Yeah. To make it, so now you
Ma
can have
for mature.
Ma for mature.
And for Ma.
And for Ma.
Ma for mature.
That's what I mean, though. It's kind of like having a character. You want to have him cool, so like you give him a cigarette. But the thing is, though, as soon as you have a cigarette, your movie's immediately rated R. So it's kind of like, okay, we're not going to give him a cigarette. We'll give him.
Is it that strict? My goodness.
When it comes, that is a new thing in movies, that if you have a character that is smoking, you must make that movie a rated R movie, because they don't want to advertise smoking as being cool.
Right. For the younger
kids.
Right.
So I think that's also another thing that gives the bow and arrow a leg up in the competition of cool projectile fighters.
Yeah. And going back to our Hawkeye topic here, let's see. MK writes, and go ahead and pull this up. I think Hawkeye is going to tie in with No Way Home. 4th and 5th episode will air the week of and the week after No Way Home's release, plus the recent casting rumors. Interesting. That's an interesting take on that. And I had a thought and I lost it. Well, that's okay. It happens.
I think we're going to find a lot of cool overlap now.
Yes.
I think they're going to Marvel. I was watching a video and a guy was kind of breaking it down on what he thinks this is going to end up being. But you're going to start seeing all of the Marvel characters kind of split into 2 categories.
Yeah.
You're going to have the cosmic characters that deal with cosmic threats. So big universal threats like Galactus.
Yes.
The Guardians of the Galaxies were going to go off and fight their big characters. But then they're going to focus on the Earth problems. So you'll have the Thunderbolts, you'll have the Dark Avengers, you'll have all of the localized threats. So you'll have like Hawkeye, Captain America, Winter Soldier, all of those threats on Earth combined. And I think probably the next big Avengers film will be when they all come back. And it's probably, they're all going to come back to Earth and fight like maybe Kang. Or they'll all come back to Earth and fight Galactus. Kind of a thing. They'll be off fighting their own little threats. So people aren't like.
I wonder if Galactus will still have the.
Oh yeah, the big head.
He's got a tall clearance when he walks through the door. Anyway, sorry.
But like, oh shoot, what was I going to think?
I'm sorry.
No, I completely lost it.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Galactus.
But I think having them in their different. Oh, that's what it was. So kind of like in Iron Man 2, people were like, "Oh, well, where's Captain America? How come Captain America didn't come and help save the president?"
Yeah.
You're not going to be able to say that anymore because they're going to either be off planet or fighting in that struggle.
Yeah. Well. Yeah, that's a lot to unpack, and it's of course speculation and theories and stuff. That's okay. We enjoy that here. But I guess time will tell, right? Just like us being really impatient when it comes to stuff like that. So let's see. Marvin Martin here says, Speaking of Shadow and Bone, the stag deserved better. Oh, well, wait till you read the other books in Shadow and Bone. I won't give anything away because I know season 2 is coming, and we will. I don't want to ruin anything for anyone, just in case you haven't read the book yet. I'm still on book 2. I'm almost done with it though. And then Bleeding Green. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Bleeding Green.
Right. Oh, Yondu's arrow is pretty damn cool. Also, yeah, with the whistle. But that, like, it was suck. Like for someone like me, I can't whistle.
Sorry. Well, what is it? The guy from Gilmore Girls.
Nope, can't do it. Sean Gunn.
Sean Gunn.
James Gunn's brother.
He put on the little mohawk thing and tried to do it and ended up shooting Drax in the butt.
I thought it shot himself in the butt too.
I thought it shot I thought it was Drax.
It's probably Drax.
And he was like,
I can't whistle.
Trying to whistle.
That'll be me. That'll be me and poke my own eye out. Like, I thought this was gonna be fun.
And then you just have the rest of your character has an eye patch.
I mean, like Nick Fury looks pretty cool with an eye
or
patch.
You can get like that Mad Eye Moody kind of eye.
No, pass. It's a hard pass for me. Let's see. Frank Castle, great name, writes, I think people are sleeping on Michael Keaton returning. What do you think?
Ooh. Okay, honestly, I'm dying. Wait,
think?
Wait, returning in
No Way Home.
No Way Home. I would love to see that.
You think so?
Yeah. Oh,
what if they all come back? Mysterio comes back. Vulture comes back.
It seems like that's kind of what they're doing. This is just going to be a huge smorgasbord of characters and villains.
Yeah.
In No Way Home. So it would make sense if he made like a little cameo or even something small to where there's so much
shot
disaster.
Drax in the neck.
Oh, it was in the neck?
Ow.
I thought he shot him in the butt.
I think he shot himself in the butt.
Oh.
I feel like it did go into somebody's butt. That sounds wrong. Anyways.
But what is it called? Having Michael Keaton, like say for example, there's a big disaster that happens and something happens at the prison that Michael Keaton's character, the Vulture, is at, and it cracks open and you see him escape.
Yeah.
Kind of a thing.
And just forever living that life of like off the streets, off the grid villain.
They did a really good job on making his character very sympathetic.
Yeah, I really liked him as a villain.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's possible. I think none of us are ready to see what's going to be in No Way Home, but I also want to remind you guys to kind of don't overhype yourself going into this and create this whole scenario in your head and then get mad at the movie if your own like vision don't come true. Because I do that sometimes where I go in and I'm like, oh, I want to see, this would be so cool to see this and that, and like I start imagining scenarios playing out in my head, and then it doesn't because the story is written in a certain other way. Obviously not from my head because I'm not the one writing the story, and then being disappointed, be like, oh, that's not my movie. I get just word of caution before you go into, Spider-Man No Way Home.
Yeah. And honestly, that's a big thing. A big problem that I do as well is like, oh my gosh, what about this and this and this and this? And then I kind of ruin the show or movie because I'm like, I have my expectations that I want to see this and they are going in a completely different direction.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, it's not what I wanted.
It's not what I want.
And then it's like, no, just calm down, Dustin, relax. Go in there and watch the movie that they are presenting. Don't make them have to make your movie. Yeah,
you can still feel all sorts of way about it, but like at least try to see their story for the way it's written. Hello, what writes? Remember, Yelena commented on how little girls cheered for Nat despite her being a killer. Hawkeye is also a killer too, but his bow and arrow makes it PG. That's true.
No, it's very weird.
Remember when he was Ronin and he was like running around slashing people
with swords.
Yeah, definitely like hardcore killer here.
I mean, and honestly, it is weird how our society does accept certain violence over others.
Yeah.
Different forms of violence. Technically, the person's still dead.
Yeah.
You still killed the person, sometimes in a very brutal way. But if it's done in a special way, a stylized way, or a certain way that's less graphic or less grotesque.
Unless it's John Wick.
That's why John Wick is rated R.
Well, this is true. Or like
maybe if John Wick just shot them with arrows, you could have made a PG John Wick.
You never know. And then like John Wick 4, he's gonna walk in and be like, guns. I don't need guns, and he pulls out like crossbow.
Don't
5
do
arrows.
Don't do that. Don't change John Wick's kung fu.
No, don't change it. He's too good at it. Maybe as a resourceful, like once in a scene, he needs to pull one off the wall or something like that. But like we watch for the amazing fight choreography and the kung fu. It's so incredible.
I actually think it would be hilarious if John Wick does kind of like pick up a bow and arrow and he tries to shoot it. And
he's terrible.
And he's like terrible at it. He absolutely, and he's just like, and just starts beating the guy with the bow.
He just takes the arrow and just, you know how they do that? They just stab the people with it. Yeah, that's
like Legolas did. Yeah. He stabbed someone with his arrow and then loaded it and shot it
again. That's resourceful. You got to go and pick up all those arrows later. Fun fact: if you play D&D or Pathfinder, don't forget to tell your DM that you're going to go back over there and pick up all of your darts or your arrows where you lose them. Yeah, it's not like infinity ammo. So just remember that because I had
you only get half of them back.
I got both of my throwing axes back.
Oh, okay.
Because our DM was nice and let me have both of them.
Technically, you're supposed to roll and then you get half of.
We almost died.
No, that is
like
true.
Take him out. He's a very nice DM.
You guys, that was a really close fight. With the giant spider.
Sean Banks, right? How did Valentina get that picture of Hawkeye as Ronin? Good question. That means she knows about the Avengers time traveling in Endgame, right? Who does she know that have that much power? Oh, Valentina is a very interesting character. Isn't she kind of double side, like double playing both sides? A little bit of Shield, a little bit of Hydra, maybe?
I don't think Hydra.
No, Hydra.
I don't think she has a connection to Hydra. I might be completely wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I think she's more along the lines of kind of like the Nick Fury, where he's not a good guy, not a bad guy.
Has her own motives.
Has her own agenda. She's definitely more in that gray area.
Yeah.
Kind of a thing.
So yeah, she could have gotten it from anywhere and everywhere. Who knows who she's working with, but she is quite resourceful and always vague. And then another person, several people have said this, that if you take the TVA logo from Loki and you turn it upside down, it actually looks like it says Val.
Oh.
So if you want to hand me the tape deck, you can see it.
The tape deck?
Yes.
Oh, I see. Oh, ow.
Broke my husband, asking me to get up and grab my tape deck.
Oh.
So we'll show you guys in case you need a visual.
Oh, it's not going to work because the camera's going to flip it.
So.
Oh, no, it works. Oh, sorry.
So here it says the TVA. Once we flip it upside down.
Whoa.
It looks like Val. So that's just a theory that somebody had on the internet, but great observation. It could mean something. It could mean nothing.
But that means Val would have to be involved with the TVA. And I don't think so.
Okay, here it is. She says, Hello What says she's a triple agent. Whoa. Imagine playing 3 sides. You got to keep your stories straight.
Oh, yeah.
You need a keen mind for that. She was undercover as Madame Hydra in Hydra, but she was also a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent. And Debbie says she does have a comic connection to Hydra, I believe. So, and a couple of you says, whoa, you never saw that before. So learn something new every day. All right, you guys, we're going to go ahead and get out of here because I haven't eaten anything all day except a couple sips of water. So I'm going to go and find myself some food. Thanks for joining us for this very casual Saturday. We may or may not be back on my Twitch channel later to try to finish Luigi's Mansion. If we do, I'll drop the link in our Discord and on my social so you guys come and hang out with us and watch us struggle through the game and try to get 100%. Catching all the ghosts and stuff like that. It's been lots of fun. We'll be playing, probably not in here, probably out in the living room. So different setup than here. But enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Thanks so much for everybody who contributed via Super Chat. I also, this is like, I'm mentioning this way too late, but apparently I just found out from John Roca, because we do the show on Fridays, that YouTube for their split of the Super Chat used to be like 30 or something %. Now it's 50.
What?
Yeah. So we might start be leaning towards if you still would like to support us via like a super chat type of thing you want to send into question, we might be leaning towards a Streamlabs solution instead, because that's a lot of money. I get they should take a cut, but I think like 50% is quite a lot.
Yeah, especially the fact that they're not doing the work. They just, we're the one who's doing all the work here.
Yeah, honestly. And to Jim's question, do you have time for a Twitch streams tomorrow? And that's for me. Yes, I'll be back on Twitch tomorrow. Time TBD, but we'll be playing Neo the World Ends With You once again. It's been lots of fun, and I can't wait to fight some more noise monsters and collect pins. All right, guys, we love you so much. Thank you for being here. Navi loves you too. She's
Did you
now
want to
taking
see
a nap.
what you got in the mail?
Oh, I can't until Monday.
Oh, okay.
So there is that. But yeah, I'll announce something on Monday, like a cool unboxing thing that I've got going on. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. We will talk to you soon. Don't forget to hit that likes button. Bye.